Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom, and today we're talking about something called G0V or something like that. Actually, it's pronounced Gov0. Gov, I guess, being short for government. And they're trying to build a transparent government, which is kind of interesting here. I guess it's all about providing new software on the internet that might be better than the software that the government itself is using. So it's kind of like government by the people directly using the internet.
I'm sure it's better than anything the government does because we know they don't always do a good job when they have a task. So this guy, Gao Jialiang, he's the co-founder of Gov0, and he just kind of got interested in politics and decided to see if he could, do something that was a little better than what he was seeing online. So it's a way for just ordinary people who don't work for the government to see what the government's doing and also maybe to upgrade some of the stuff that the government is doing. So open source it refers to people who are writing computer code out there that's free to get your hands on. I actually have a couple of apps on my phone that are considered open source or freeware, shareware. I didn't have to pay for it. And the designers of it encourage people like me and other people. I don't do computer code, but they encourage people to give them feedback so they can improve it, make it better. Mr. Gao is trying to help the government make their website a little bit easier to understand, and hopefully it's helping the rest of the citizens here in Taiwan.
Okay,
have you heard of this before, though, Tom?
No, but some of the things they mention in this article I've heard of. So maybe this person and this organization has had something to do with the improvement in the government these days.
Cool.
Some people like the improvements, some people don't. So let's talk about what this is all about here. Gov0, building a transparent government. Let's get to it. Let's read the entire contents of the lesson right now. Gao Jialiang, the co-founder of Gov0, pronounced Gov0, has made it his life's work to make the government more accessible. Gov0 is part of the open-source software community, and it specializes in building different versions of already existing government software. Once Gov0 can show that its version works better, the government can choose whether or not to adopt it. In the spirit of the open-source community, however, Gov0's version is still freely available online, regardless of the government's choice. Gao, an open-source web developer for more than 17 years, hasn't always been interested in politics. In fact, it wasn't until he saw an advertisement for the government's Economic Power-Up Plan in 2012 that he started questioning how the government operates. After analyzing the government's official budget, which consisted of hundreds of pages of incomprehensible text, Gao developed his own Central Government Budget website. The new version, which went online in 2012, not only made the budget easy to understand, but also sparked the launch of Gov0. The group has been attracting attention both locally and globally since 2014, when some of its members built open-source code for the Sunflower Student Movement. Gov0's main goals are to provide transparency in the government's actions and to promote Taiwanese citizens' freedom to access this information. Indeed, this freedom is what recently led Gov0 to start developing a project that focuses on human rights violations in Asia. Human rights workers often lack information security, which can expose them to danger. The project aims to increase information security awareness for these workers, as well as establish Taiwan as Asia's human rights information hub. Thanks to this project and others, Gov0's civic hackers have become world-renowned in the global open-source community for their efforts to make the government open and transparent to all.
Okay, guys, we're going to look and see what we can discover about this. Gov0. I had not heard about this before we got this particular lesson sent to us. It's kind of interesting. They're trying to build a transparent government. If something's transparent, you can see through it. Hopefully, you've got windows at home that are transparent. You can see through the glass. Hopefully, girls, you're not wearing skirts that are transparent or see-through. You're wearing a slip in between your body and that dress. Well, they're trying to help people, just regular citizens who don't work for the government, understand what the government's up to, what they're doing, because sometimes the government doesn't want us to know. We've got a guy named Gao Jialiang. He's the co-founder of Gov0. If you're a co-founder of something, guys, you're working with somebody else or some other people to establish some sort of organization or foundation. You're setting it up. He's a co-founder.
So we've got a little G there, a 0. It looks like an O, but it's actually a 0. And then we've got V, so Gov0, and that's how it's pronounced. And he has made this his life's work. You might have things in your life that you do every day, but if it's your life's work, it's something that you want to accomplish over the long term. It's something you work on pretty much every day, and you think about it pretty much every day and work mostly on that thing. It's your life's work. Like if you're a doctor, that's your life's work. Or if you're a lawyer and you work all the way until retirement, that's your life's work. And he wants to make the government more accessible, which is similar to transparent. But if it's accessible, that means people can have access to that thing. They are able to reach it. They're able to get to it. They're able to enter it. You could talk about accessibility, for example. That is the noun form. Is this building wheelchair accessible? Or does it have accessibility? Can you actually go inside there in a wheelchair? Or are there a bunch of stairs and you can't get in? So, yes, people want to know what their government is doing. After all, we, pay our taxes and we vote for these people. So we want to know what they're doing. They're supposed to be working for us. So he wants to make the government more accessible. And Gov0 is part of the open source software community, which you talked about earlier, that open source software. I guess lots of people do this, so we're calling it a community.
Yeah, a community can be an actual neighborhood, a physical neighborhood where, you like your community that you live in. But here, it's just a group of people that are connected by a similar interest or a similar hobby. Here, open source software, if you're into programming, it's an actual software that was developed for users and used by users. It's for the user community. Usually software code is protected. It's proprietary, meaning it belongs to a company. Here, open source software belongs to us all. And it's a way for coders, I'm not a coder, but they share and they learn through each other. And it's kind of nice to have open source software. A lot of things that I use on my computer and my phone were attained through this sort of way, so I don't have to pay for it. And this community also specializes in building different versions of already existing government software. They kind of want to see if they can improve on what the government has already put up. It's kind of fun to see if their version is an improvement or what kind of comments or feedback they get based on their versions. A version is just a different form of something else. We use version a lot when we talk about software. Do you have the latest version of Windows? Do you have the latest version of Word? Here, they're actually working together as a group of maybe not friends, but at least they work together, they know each other, and they help build different software based on what they're seeing, what the government's doing.
It kind of depends on the attitude of the government. I'm sure these people have big egos and think, hey, our software is good enough. Why do we need somebody outside the government to give us suggestions? So if they're open-minded about this, of course, they will probably take a good look at it and they will decide whether or not to adopt it. Here we've got the word adopt, which is oftentimes confused with the word adapt, with an A in the middle instead of an O. But in this particular case, adopt means you basically take up this idea, you start using it. You can also adopt a child, for example. If the child is an orphan or something and you'd like to have the child live with your family, you can adopt that child. The word adapt means that you kind of change things, okay? You kind of improve it so it works better, to make some adaptations, I guess you could say. But in this particular case, the government can choose whether or not they're going to actually use the improved software.
Now, in the spirit of the open source community, however, it says GovZero's version is still freely available online, regardless of the government's choice. So it doesn't really matter how the government responds. They're going to keep doing it anyway. So you can see, regardless of means no matter if this happens or that happens, they're still going to do it. Gao, an open source web developer for more than 17 years, hasn't always been interested in politics. A lot of people out there in the world, they really don't have any interest in reading about politics and hearing what's going on. They just have no sort of interest in that. It depends on the person. He wasn't really paying attention to politics while he was working as an open source web developer, and he's been doing it a long time. He's got a lot of experience. But that changed, and his interest towards politics changed when he saw an advertisement for the government's economic power-up plan that they came out with in 2012. So if you're seeing an advertisement, it's something that's promoting either a product or a service. Usually we see advertisements on TV or radio. If they're on TV or radio, we call them commercials because they're live. You could see an ad in a newspaper or a magazine. We'll oftentimes just shorten it to ad, but the full word is advertisement. And people who advertise are wanting to inform people, let them know what's going on. Typically, it's to encourage them to buy or spend money on either the product or service that they're advertising.
Absolutely. So every once in a while, the government comes out with these schemes or these ideas that they're trying to promote for national development or something like that. In this particular case, going back 5 years, we have the Economic Power-Up Plan that came out in 2012, and there was an advertisement for it. To power up just means to start something, turn on the power button, and then all the systems start functioning. So I guess they wanted to power up the economy. Maybe the economy wasn't doing so well back then. And he saw that advertisement and he thought, I don't think I would do it that way, or I think a lot of people would question such a plan. So he started questioning how the government operates. Yes, we elect these people, but then we just kind of let them do what they want to do, and we don't really monitor them. We don't really watch them. He started questioning the government. Yeah, we need to keep an eye on them. We need to scrutinize them to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to. And I guess he kind of doubted this economic power-up plan. He didn't think it was probably a good idea. So he started questioning how the government works or how it operates. Okay, I think this is a good time to take a little bit of a break right now and turn things over to our Chinese teacher.
Hi everyone, my name's Jenny. 今天我们看的是第6单元。好，大家有没有听过零时政府？零是数字的零，看到它的英文是 G， 中间一个零，然后后面再加 V， 它代表的是要让政策政府的资讯透明化。在英文上他们是念作 GovZero， 中文翻成零时政府。他的创办人是高嘉良先生，他希望把政府变得更好懂，所以他用到了这个字 accessible， 意思就是让政府更为大家所理解。首先呢，他提到这个所谓的零时政府是一个开源软体社群的一部分。那他发现说，很多政府呢，软体的运用虽然说可以用，可是并不好用。 那所以它就会发展出来，让一般的民众用起来更好用的版本。当然，它做出来的到底政府想不想选择它的版本来运作呢？这是政府的选择，是不是用它的不见得。不过基本上本着这种开放原始码社群的精神，然后呢，在网络上其实你是可以免费的获得的。那我们来看看，像这个字 once 它是一个像连接词的用法，像在这边这个中文翻译起来比较像一旦怎么样。往下，高先生其实做这个开放原始码网页开发者资历已经有17年了。可是他为什么会有这个念头？他提到了It wasn't until he saw an advertisement. 好，看这边 It wasn't until 看到的这个句构应该就马上想到它后面一定会有个 that。 这个 that 子句出现在哪里呢？就要一直往下读，读到了在2012年这个后面的 that 开始，那整个句构就会看得出来。中文其实就是一直到什么时候才怎样，它其实是一直看到了政府有一个广告是在讲经济动能推升方案，那看了那个广告之后，他才想到说我呢其实是可以怎么做，变成了他今天这么样的有成就。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. We're talking about GovZero, and also the co-founder of GovZero, Gao Jialiang. And he has made it his mission to help the rest of us understand what the government's doing, what's going on, in an attempt, of course, to make the government more transparent so that we know what our tax dollars are going towards and what our representatives are doing and saying. So we know that he was an open source web developer for more than 17 years. He's still doing it, but now he's got this interest that is directed toward politics. He hadn't been interested in politics before, but now that's changed. He saw an advertisement for the government's economic power-up plan that came out in 2012. When I saw power up, the phrase that jumped into my mind was to jumpstart. If you jumpstart something, you kind of give it a little push so it's moving faster. And right now, the economy in Taiwan isn't moving very fast. They're trying to get it moving a little faster again. So they've got this plan that they hope is going to work. Well, Gao saw it and he thought, I don't know. He started questioning how the government was operating. He analyzed the government's official budget, and that budget consisted of hundreds of pages of incomprehensible text. Sounds like the government right there. Now, if you analyze something, guys, you examine it very closely. You're looking for all the detail that you can find. Usually you examine or analyze something because you want to explain it, interpret it, or discover what's going on, to reveal maybe some things inside it that people don't know about. I know that when some of our laws are passed, I'm going to use Obamacare for an example, a lot of our representatives hadn't even read it because it was so long. So this is what he found. He found a budget that consisted of or was made up of hundreds of pages of text that didn't make sense to him. Incomprehensible means you can't comprehend it, you can't understand it. A lot of times it's because lawyers write that stuff and they write it in a way that isn't clear. It's hard to understand it unless you've been trained in legal talk, legal jargon. So what he decided to do was to develop his own central government budget website. Good for him.
Okay, so again, he analyzed the budget. He thought it was a bunch of legal gobbledygook and decided to simplify it and let people understand it. So he developed his own website, which talked about the central government budget. I guess he sort of simplified it. He put it in layman's terms and made it comprehensible to the average Joe and the average Jane. And the new version, which went online in 2012, that same year, not only made the budget easy to understand, understand, but also sparked the launch of GovZero. So he decided, hey, this is the budget. This is what the government is doing with all our tax dollars, but nobody can really understand this stuff unless they have a law degree. So he made it comprehensible to the average person, and it went online. People could check it out from their computers or their smartphones, and the budget was therefore easy to understand. And also it sparks the launch of GovZero. So here we've got the word spark. Spark can be both a verb and a noun. Usually a spark is like a small little, I guess they say 火星 in Mandarin, a little kind of tiny little bit of fire that burns hot and goes out quickly. Like in your engine, you have the spark plugs, which provide the spark for the gas and air mixture in the combustion chamber to explode and drive the pistons in your engine. That, of course, is in an internal combustion engine. But in this case, spark can be both a noun and a verb. Spark just means to kind of start something, kind of give it a quick boost, give it a jump start.
Yeah. So this group has been attracting attention both locally and globally since 2014 or 2014. What happened then was some of its members decided to build open source code for a group that we've all heard of here in Taiwan, at least, the Sunflower Student Movement. So they built code for that group. Now, moving on to the next paragraph, it says GovZero's main goals are to provide transparency in the government's actions and promote Taiwan's citizens' freedom to access this information. So again, transparency is the noun form of the adjective transparent, meaning you can see through it. It's easy to understand. We use transparency a lot with government these days because we would rather believe that our government doesn't hide things from us, tells us the truth. That's their first goal, is to provide transparency, but also they want to promote the Taiwanese citizens' freedom here in this country to access or get their hands on this information. Remember, accessible, access is the verb. So those are good goals, I would say. So indeed, this freedom is what recently led GovZero to start developing a project that focuses on human rights violations in Asia. So this time they're going to expand their reach. They're going to go outside Taiwan and actually look at all of Asia, which probably is going to include China, which will be fun. Human rights are people's basic civil rights that we should all have. And if you violate something, you go against that. Sometimes if you drive too fast, cops will pull you over and give you a speeding ticket. It's called a traffic violation. If you violate something against, you go against it, or you break the law. Here, we're talking about countries that don't treat their people with basic human rights.
Right. Human trafficking, modern-day slavery, etc. Those are examples of human rights violations. People should have the right to live happy lives in the pursuit of happiness and stuff like that. And people who try to protect those people are human rights workers who try to find human trafficking and bring them into freedom and stuff like that. But they often lack information security, which can expose them to danger.
True.
So information is one thing, but information security is something else. I guess that means that maybe the information that they're exchanging with each other online may be hacked by people or something like that.
The government's seen it, and so they're getting upset.
Right,
yeah.
So, and they might try to have some trumped-up charges against them and send them to jail or something like that. So, yes, they lack that information security, and they can be exposed to danger, not only to the government, but also some, organizations that are working in human trafficking and stuff like that.
Well, also human rights violations includes people who express their political opinions and then are thrown into prison by the government who doesn't let them express their opinion. They're talking about that too. So, yeah, they're helping these people who are working in protecting human rights by making the information that they share with each other more secure so people can't hack in and get it.
Exactly right. So again, they lack that information security. They're exposed to danger. They're vulnerable to attack. And the project aims to increase information security awareness for these workers. Hey, you guys need to be aware that your information is being read by somebody else. And they also want to establish Taiwan as Asia's human rights information hub.
Cool.
So if you're working in human rights, you can go to Taiwan for more information. And thanks to this project and others, GovZero's civic hackers have become world-renowned. Civic means having to do with towns or cities, but it also means doing your duty as a citizen. Hacker is 骇客, I guess is how you say it in Chinese. World-renowned just means you're famous all over the world.
Right. Civic, sometimes I look at it and I think also just of government for a city or a town. So they've become world-renowned. People around the world know about these Taiwanese civic hackers who are working in the global open source community. Good for them for using some of their time and talent to put these efforts out there. Help citizens know what the government's doing, but also help these human rights workers make life a little bit more fair and more just for people in Asia. Right now, guys, we're going to listen one more time to our Chinese teacher, and then we'll be back.
好，那接下来我们就来看他做了哪些事情。好，他这边提到，他从这个广告当中开始发现，其实政府的运作方式并不 OK， 所以他就分析了政府里面很多页的这些文字，官方预算文字之后，发现这真是比天书还难，因此他就决定要开发他自己的网站。那我们看到这边为止有一个字我们要特别提来，就是 which。 他提到分析了政府的官方预算 which consisted of 这个预算表里头包含了好几百页的完全很难懂的文字。当然 which 这个里头前面有加逗点，所以表示 which 这个子句它其实是在中间当作附加说明用的非限定用法。那整个的话后面当然接下来逗点后头才是主词。那高先生呢，他就发展出了现在所谓的中央政府预算网站。好，那接下来当然又提到了他做了其他的不同的这些计划，包括太阳花学运这件事。其实他们在西元2014年那时候帮太阳花学运建立了开放的原始码这个编码开始，他也让这个团体呢在全球各地都引起了关注。好，那最后这边最后一段就提到说这个临时政府它的目标其实很简单，就是要做到 transparent government， 也就是我们标题说的要透明化，让政府的资讯透明化。那不过他这边就提到了说他认为一般的大众人民事实上他应该能清楚看到政府在做什么，而且他这里提到 Indeed, this freedom is what recently 好，看到 what 这个当然是一个所谓的复合代名词，我们用 what 的时候一定要想一想，它其实就等于 something that, the thing which， 所以其实这句话里面的 what 接下来的这个子句它整个当补语，不过它用 what 一个字就取代的 the thing that。 换句话说，他提到也就是这样的自由精神，让临时政府呢，他最近开始开发了一个聚焦于亚洲侵犯人权行为的专案。好，那往下呢就会继续解释，我们要提到说他的目标，他希望说这整个计划呢，它不但能够让提高了大家这个 information security awareness， 也就是说对这种提升资讯安全的意识让大家提高之外，他也要把台湾打造成什么？他说到一个 as well as。 好， as well as 当然就是前者跟后者，除了后者之外，前者也是一样重要的。那后者讲的是要打造台湾成为亚洲的人权资讯中心。看到了这个字 hub 其实就代表中心。好，我们今天讲解到这里结束，下次见。
That's all the time we have for today, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully Gov0 will improve all of our lives. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
See ya.